What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel for another video. You guys new here, make sure you guys subscribe. So today for you guys, man, I'm going to react to Brandon Lee's death inside the Crow on set shooting and Bruce Lee family. This video by E.T. and this video is like 19 minutes long. So listen, I'm a big fan of the original Crow movie, like that literally came out in 1994. Because me personally, I was born in 1996 and stuff, so I even got the movie and stuff of that. So, you know, like it's like this right here, man. It was very, very tragic. And stuff. I even like read an article about it. You know, on what just happened and stuff of his death. So but yeah, man, it's still hard, you know that we lost two legends, both Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee, which I wish they were still alive though, but rest in peace both of them, and stuff of that, so honestly, didn't go see the new one, cause I'd rather go see Alien Romulus last Friday and stuff. So I decided to go see it over the Crow, cause I already watched Alien Romulus for the third time in IMAX. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point of me spending my money and go see this big old piece of trash of the remake, The Crow? Like, I ain't gonna listen. I would never in my life not go see this movie. Why? Because if I do, I'll be a straight up dumbass. You know what I'm saying? So, like I'm being real. You feel me? So, but I know some people already seen the newest one. So, which I did watch Time Road Madness. His movie view of the newest one of The Crow. He didn't like it. He said this movie. He was like, this movie a big old piece of trash. But I was like, listen, after watching his movie view, I was like, man, so this movie was was bad. So cause listen, I already had the feeling though, cause what's the point of them doing remakes though? Come on now, and I agree with him, So listen, I don't care if it's based on a comic book and stuff of that. I don't give a flying crap about it. Okay, so that's why I ain't gonna see it, cause I would never ever watch it, ever in my life. So, but yeah, so this is all about the 1994, the masterpiece, the original, The Crow, and the freaking legendary Brandon Lee, alongside with Bruce Lee. So, we're about to go ahead and jump in and check this video out. So, let's get to it.
It is a violent film. It's a violent situation. And it's a fun set.
The Crow was close to being a doomed movie after star Brandon Lee was killed in a handgun accident.
E.T.'s rare interview with Bruce Lee's son weeks before his on-set killing.
Many small events led up to the final accident that happened to Brandon.
Gentlemen!
Inside the mirroring mysteries of their shocking deaths.
People always say, oh, your family lives under some sort of a curse, and I don't believe that.
Why don't you tell me a story?
You can't say at this stage of a film whether it's going to be a big hit or whether it's going to bomb. But I know this, it's going to be very interesting.
In 1993, 2 decades after Bruce Lee's death at 32 years old, his son Brandon at 28 living under two shadows. The man he called Dad and a modern-day legend and cultural icon.
It's not hard at all to live with the memory of him. The memory of him is what I cherish. It's the myth of him that causes any problems.
Brandon set to achieve in life what Bruce only attained in death. Mainstream success in Hollywood thanks to a zeitgeisty graphic novel.
You should run across sooner.
The Crow's big screen adaptation offered Brandon all he needed to forge his own legacy.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Sure, the movie had action, but despite Brandon's extensive martial arts background, including at-home training with a kung fu master,
You have one chance to live.
Eric Draven would showcase the difference between Brandon and Bruce.
My father, he himself considered himself a martial artist first and an actor second, and I consider myself an actor first.
He confided in me before he ran out of breath.
Right now it's tired. It's a tired mood, but it's good.
E.T. on the set with Brandon just 3 weeks before he'd be bound forever to his father's memory in a horrific and suspicious accidental shooting.
Oh, it gets better.
On March 31st, Brandon readying for a night shoot, one of many while filming in North Carolina.
It is a violent film. It's one where I feel very justified from the character's point of view in carrying out the violence that takes place.
Your job will be to tell the rest of them that death is coming for them. Tonight.
Eric's got a chance to personally not only get revenge, but hopefully also get a reward for it and be with Shelley again.
Tapping into these emotions was easy for Brandon, who was days out from tying the knot with his longtime love, Eliza.
I'm gonna get married right after the film. I found a wonderful woman. I'll marry her. It's gonna be great.
Brandon was sitting on the couch next to me. He goes, I got to go work out at the gym, got to come home and watch the basketball game. He goes, I feel like a real person for the first time in weeks.
An eyewitness opening up 2 days later about watching Brandon Lee's final performance as co-star Michael Massey fired the fatal round.
It was nothing unusual. He did everything like it was in rehearsal. He's supposed to hear the door. He grabs the gun from his back pocket, swings around and shoots.
This scene in the final film, of course, a change-up from the original script, as was take one when cameras rolled.
He was supposed to drop to his knees and fall forward, so his face was towards the camera. He was lying with his head against the door and his feet facing towards the camera. When Brandon didn't get up, everyone was stunned. Then when everyone heard the medic go, Brandon, are you all right? The place just went, whew, it was like dead quiet. They had pulled up Brandon's shirt and I saw the wound. It was just an open wound, but you could see the blood pooling behind it. And he was pale, he was really pale. And just barely a whimper coming out of him. They cleared the set immediately. And the only way out was next to the door where Brandon fell, so we all had to file past Brandon to get out. But he was barely conscious at that point. And they were still doing CPR as they put him into the ambulance. And that's when it hit the crew as a collective whole. Everybody knew that Brandon's heart had stopped and it was really bad. And it's just all of a sudden, this tears started flowing. And anybody you were next to, all the crew just started grabbing a hold of each other.
Mr. Lee arrived at the medical center undergoing CPR. He had detectable vital signs, but was unresponsive.
That night, half the crew went to the hospital. So everybody was hoping that he'd make it.
Brandon's fiance and his mother, Linda Lee, hopping a plane that night to North Carolina.
Actor Brandon Lee, 28, died at 1:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday at New Hanover Regional Medical Center.
It's a time of real sadness in our family, but we're managing.
Brandon Lee was dead, his family torn between grief and outrage over another loved one struck down in their prime.
Being 4 when my father died, you don't really understand the impact it has on your life. Being in your 20s when something like that happens is much different. I was very close to Brandon, and so it was very difficult and so shocking.
Shocking, too, for stars well-versed in on-set firearm protocols, as news of Brandon's death sent shockwaves across Hollywood.
I just
think about the mother and the fiance and what she's been through before, and it's her only son. I don't know. I take it personally. I really do.
Brandon's on-set tragedy falling in a year packed with tributes for his dad, commemorating the 2 decades since Bruce died under mysterious circumstances. A major studio biopic hitting theaters and one of the biggest honors Hollywood has to offer.
I mean, he's getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen,
which I think is long overdue.
Bruce Lee.
4 weeks ago today, the spirit of the father that shone so brightly through the sun was tragically extinguished.
Dad, what are you doing here?
I live here.
Personally, it's a little strange seeing your family life, including yourself as a young child and my sister as a young child, portrayed on screen.
Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, nearly finished at the time, save for this tribute added last minute for Brandon, who actually passed on playing his dad on screen.
I sat down with the director and we talked about it. It's just not something I would be interested in doing. It'd be stranger than playing a guy who comes back from the dead to play your own father.
We expect that a young life will not be wasted in vain, and I give the responsibility to the entertainment industry to assure us that it will not happen again.
Linda, sending a call to action as detectives, discovered the deadly dominoes behind Brandon's death.
It's just absurd. It's horrible. I tell you, it nauseates me. It actually infuriates me.
Believe me, nothing is trivial.
Most people that things happen to like this that you see on the news all the time, they never get any justice.
Those seeking justice learned Brandon was killed by the tip of a real bullet hidden inside a prop gun's barrel chamber, the fragment from a realistic-looking round called dummy bullets, not lethal and only used for close-ups. But weeks before Brandon's death, a dummy tip detached, lodging itself within the barrel. That was a blank round. This ammo, unlike dummies, contains firepower, and they were loaded inside the .44 caliber revolver pointed at Brandon. No one checking the chamber where, lying in wait, was the bullet tip that fired right into his stomach.
He had a penetrating wound near his umbilicus or belly button. I know that during the surgery itself, he received at least 40 or more units of blood, and it's a relatively small wound.
The investigation uncovering a series of poor decisions and guilty parties. In fact, too much blame across too many people, leaving no way to directly charge anyone for Brandon's shooting.
What you looking at here? I mean, you need professional help.
As for the on and off screen shooter, Massey, he continued acting but was forever traumatized by pulling that trigger, rarely talking of the experience before he died of stomach cancer in 2016. But there was monetary justice for Linda and Eliza, an undisclosed settlement from The Crow's producers.
I would say I don't hate the industry. What really dismays me sometimes is that Brandon's accident happened because of a chain of negligent acts, any one of which had been changed and that would not have been this result.
I know very clearly in my mind what happened on Brandon's set, and am totally disgusted by the amount of negligence that went on there.
I was good friends, really good friends with Brandon Lee, and Brandon and I played ball and hung out at the Hollywood Y 3 days a week. We were buddies, and you know, this was his big break.
This is a crime scene.
In the wake of the Alec Baldwin and Russ set tragedy in 2021, George Clooney, yet again the de facto voice of Hollywood, but also speaking for an actor who, like him in 1993, was on the verge of becoming a household name.
Like the coat? Every single time I'm handed a gun on a set, they hand me a gun, I look at it, I open it, I show it to the person I'm pointing it to, we show it to the crew. It is because of what happened to Brandon. Right. Everyone does it. Everybody knows.
And so I think that's something that I hope that the people who are involved in what happened to Brandon think about sometimes, and think about if they have a responsibility, they should be doing it 100%.
While no new laws or arrests came in the aftermath, there was pressure to give Linda's 100% on the job.
We should have shotguns with this kind of deal.
These are dummy slugs. They're not, they better be.
Who should I hit?
That was a good movie.
Well, I was really scared because it was right after the Brandon Lee tragedy, and that was really scary. But the gun control person showed me why the thing with Brandon Lee actually happened.
You know, after Brandon died, it really became a very clear thing of open the gun, look down the barrel, make sure.
Because somebody else may be depending on that, and in this case, somebody else's very life was depending on their doing their jobs correctly.
Then the matter of The Crow. Its cast and crew sent home indefinitely after losing their lead star. Just like his character Eric Draven, Brandon resurrected 1 year later with his salvaged performance.
At the box office over the weekend, The Crow was the highest flying movie. It opened and earned more than $11 million.
They've had a year to deal with having lost you. They've had their grief. We hope they've gone on in some way.
One way for Brandon's loved ones, supporting his dream role hitting theaters by whatever means necessary.
The Crow was close to being a doomed movie after star Brandon Lee was killed in a handgun accident. It was days before completion, and Lee's work was not finished. So how did they put Brandon into scenes he was not originally in?
Body doubles, for one, along with what at the time was groundbreaking CGI.
The most difficult scene is this 5-second shot of Lee returning to his apartment. It is crucial to the plot, but it was never filmed. Fortunately, this footage of Lee in a rainy alley was. Step 1, creating a digital moving outline. A shot of the empty apartment becomes the background. Then, with the aid of computers, Brandon Lee walks into a scene he never really shot.
That 5-second moment needing around 600 man-hours to complete.
If you move, you're dead.
And I say I'm dead. And I move.
Ernie's like the nice guy on the set, you know?
It wasn't until I saw the movie that I know that decision was right, that we had to finish this film. And I think it is a tribute to him. Brandon's warmth really just sort of permeates the whole film.
I did go and see The Crow in the theaters because I know from speaking to Brandon on the set when he was there how proud of this movie he would have been.
I think it gave some of the lines a little bit more depth when he says to Ernie Hudson,
You shouldn't smoke these. They'll kill you.
knowing the fact that the guy didn't make it through the whole movie, it affects you a little bit differently than it normally would, I think.
And I thought it was a very good film, and of course I thought Brandon was spectacular. And that's the only time I've seen it.
That's Shannon's cameo in her dad's biopic, which also depicted Bruce protecting Brandon from otherworldly forces.
People always say, oh, your family lives under some sort of a curse, and I don't believe that.
Even before Bruce Lee's family dwindled down to 2, Linda, Shannon, and Brandon putting up a united front against conspiracy theories.
I just think that whenever someone who's in the spotlight that much passes away, particularly someone who was a paragon of physical fitness, it's difficult for people to accept, and they want to think up other reasons.
The theories came in all shapes and sizes. Bruce Lee murdered for giving Eastern martial arts secrets to the West, or taken out by a rival movie studio, and then that enduring curse talk.
The only time that the circumstances surrounding my father's death are ever a hassle is when people who continue to perpetuate this myth that something untoward happened come and bother me about it,
The long-standing myth, in part positing Bruce's Hong Kong home was spiritually unbalanced, creating a hex that caused his death, then Brandon's. Bruce also leaving an unfinished film when he died on July 20th, 1973, where, just as Linda later would for her son, she had rushed to her husband's hospital.
They tried all life-saving measures, and I was just standing back on the side, and Bruce was not conscious, so I couldn't communicate with him. I remember asking someone who was standing there whether he was alive. I didn't want to say, has he died? So I asked if he was alive, and they shook their head. The conclusion was that Bruce had a hypersensitive reaction to a pain medication, and it caused a cerebral edema, a swelling that pressed on the brain. It took a matter of weeks before the toxicology was done. So during that ensuing period of many theories surfaced and mysterious sources.
He was in such amazing physical shape, such a dynamic, charismatic person, and here he dies of an allergic reaction to a medication.
And I think it's, people's natural fear of mortality, that any second of any day, any one of us could meet a similar fate.
Are you some kind of ghost?
Brandon becoming a tale of two curses, the second stemming from headlines surrounding events behind the scenes of The Crow.
Some people said, yeah, it's the curse of the crow, and we should have stopped when stuff started happening, because we did. We've had stuntmen get, break a rib, or a photo double for another character broke his leg, and they're going, oh, there it is, here it is. The curse has hit us again.
The fact that there were certain incidents, say, on The Crow that happened before Brandon's accident are now turned into, oh, there was a curse on the set of The Crow. I think that's very irresponsible, and I don't read those things.
You didn't say goodbye.
You're just gonna have to forgive me for that.
It has been very difficult. It's almost so more recent, so it's even harder to talk about, and it is very difficult to lose a child. You never, of course, expect that your child will go before you do, especially Brandon, also so full of vitality and energy, and his career going forward, going to be married shortly, and so happy about it.
Brandon's fiancée Eliza breaking her silence in 2021.
Somebody put a live round in a gun.
She penned her feelings about the Rush shooting through the lens of the love of her life. 28 years ago, I was shattered by the shock and grief of losing Brandon Lee so senselessly. I urge those in positions to make change to consider alternatives to real guns on sets.
Moving forward on any $7 production, in television or film or otherwise, we will not use real guns ever again. We are going to be using rubber guns, and we'll take care of it in post.
I feel I represent Bruce here today, and if he were here today, he would want to say to the film community that this must never happen again.
Hollywood 3 decades later, listening to Linda after watching The Crow amass a cult following. The sizable fan base leading to a Bill Skarsgård-led remake. Meanwhile, in this Seattle cemetery, Brandon's tombstone alongside his father's, carrying a quote about learning to live, knowing death comes for us all.
And I think that it's been helpful to me to have known the philosophy that Bruce and Brandon both lived their life by. And I think this is what Brandon and Bruce would say to us as well. We must enjoy life every day on every level, every moment.
Well, I'm sorry, y'all. I was almost in tears though, so. But yeah, that was like the saddest tragedy ever. Like it makes me want to watch the original The Crow. To be honest with you, since I got the movie and stuff, listen, I didn't know anything about, what went down, because I was born in 96 and this movie came out in 1994. So, that was when our first time watching this movie when I was little, when it, I was probably like 10 years old and stuff, in late 2000s and stuff, because I didn't know that, until I read the article and stuff, and alongside that, I watched the Bruce Lee story. I didn't know his name was on there. His birthday and the death and stuff. So, but man, I wish both of them still alive. Be honest with you, but we can't bring them back. They are in a better place. See, this is why, like somebody like put like real bullets in a gun. Like, come on now. Like, I don't know, man. It's this sad though. You know what I'm saying? Cause I even read Bruce Lee's book. And I literally just finished it though. I literally just got it from the library, everything. So cause like Bruce Lee is one of the greatest iconic martial arts actor ever. Be honest with you, because I love his movies and everything. Alongside with Brandon Lee, I love his movie because I've been watching his movies on Prime and sometimes on YouTube and stuff like that. So, and definitely Bruce Lee, I'll be watching his movies on Pluto TV. And stuff like that. So like Fist of Fury, Game of Death, Wake of Death, and stuff and more. So and of course the Dragon Bruce Lee story, who played Bruce Lee, played by Jason Scott Lee. He did an excellent job playing Bruce Lee. Cause he looked exactly like him though. So, but I love that movie. Which I got the movie as well. So, but yeah, like I always a true fan of Bruce Lee. And of course Brandon Lee too. So. But like I say, I would never go see the newest one, because like what's the point of them, like literally make a remake? Nobody want a remake though. Nobody. Let the man rest in peace, and leave like, oh man, like it's. I don't got nothing to say, So, but like I said, I'm not gonna see this movie, the newest one. So, it's always the Team 1994 original, hands down. I don't care what nobody say. So y'all can kiss my ass. So, I'm being real. So, like, so yeah. But in the case, man. That's it for the video for you guys, man, because it was like, this was emotional, for me, be honest with you, watching this video and stuff. So, hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. I see you guys in this video. Gotta be safe out there. God bless you all. Take care.